News on Fox 14. Today, the Tiger King, or Joe Exotic as we know him, is resentenced after a judge finds the proper sentencing guidelines weren't used.
How can we go from a Monday in the 60s to be talking about winter storm watches? We're going to find out from the Skywatch Weather Center.
And a group of indigenous people marched to bring change and advocate for justice for those who are murdered. All that and more coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thanks for joining us for the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Joe Exotic may never be able to financially recover from this or see the outside of a jail cell for a little bit longer. Federal judge has resentenced Tiger King Joe Exotic to 21 years in prison. A former zookeeper in Oklahoma, whose real name is Joseph Maldonado Passage, was convicted in a murder-for-hire case involving his chief rival, Carol Baskin. He was sentenced 2 years ago to 22 years in prison, but a federal appeals court ruled last year the proper sentencing guidelines were not used, and he was resentenced in Oklahoma City. Prosecutors say Maldonado Passage tried to hire 2 different people, including an undercover FBI agent, to kill Baskin, who had criticized his treatment of animals. Baskin attended Friday's sentencing and said Maldonado Passage, quote, continues to harbor intense feelings of ill will towards me, end quote. Helping others in need is something some people aim to do, and a woman in Joplin wants to help her friend who has leukemia, and she also wants your help to do it. A friend is Brianne Theron, who's battling leukemia for the 2nd time in less than a year. Brianne is now in the process of locating a stem cell donor. Kelly Out at Farmers Insurance in Joplin hopes people will register for a swab kit to see if they match.
She is in a hospital away from here, several hours away, for at least 6 months. So while you may not be able to support her financially, this is a quick swab. You could go in, it could be as simple as it's 4 to 6 hours to donate through their process if you are a match.
Farmers Insurance is partnering with the Be the Match program to find someone ages 18 to 40 who could help save a life. Well, a beloved chicken restaurant is up for sale. But which beloved restaurant, do you ask? Well, it's the iconic Chicken Mary's located in rural Pittsburgh, but it's not closing. A manager tells us the sale is contingent on the new owner agreeing to continue to operate the restaurant and retain the other managers. Chicken Mary's is one of the restaurants that's drawn chicken lovers to Southeast Kansas for generations.
We'll always have a connection, but you know, I'm going to miss being here. The joy of, I don't know, seeing people happy. You know, there's a lot of things I'm really going to miss. It's going to be super hard. I'm not going to lie and say it's going to be easy to walk away, because it's not. But, you know, there's things in life I want to do while I'm still able to do them too.
Lana's a great lady. Cobb Realty Company has posted the property price at $1.1 million. Pittsburgh Wrestling Club hosted a tournament for kids of all skill levels this weekend. The tournament provides multiple divisions for both experienced and novice athletes. Those athletes range from kindergarten to 8th grade.
So this is our 2nd annual 4-state duels. We're trying to get teams from all 4 states here in our 4-state area. We got teams from Oklahoma, Missouri, Kansas here. We didn't get an Arkansas representative this year, but we got 28 teams, about 300 kids here today.
That's awesome. An event that fishers and hunters love returned to Pittsburgh this weekend. The show featured a number of events and exhibits, and some of the things featured included boats, ATVs, tractors, and mowers. There was even a kids casting contest.
We had it's our 16th annual fishing and hunting show. We've had a great turnout. Yesterday was the busiest day I've seen, with just tons of exhibitors, fishing, hunting, taxidermy, all kinds of good stuff for people to see.
The event was held at the Memorial Auditorium and Convention Center. Washington, D.C.'s prehensile-tailed porcupine couple, Beatrice and Quilber, that's a great name. They recently welcomed their 2nd offspring, and their new kid is looking sharp. Check this out. Small mammal housekeepers reported for duty on January 4th. That's when they discovered Beatrix had given birth overnight. The porcupette, as baby porcupines are known, is seen with Mother Beatrice in all of the visuals released by the zoo. The zoo team is looking forward to learning if the newborn will take after Beatrix, who is relaxed and easygoing, or be more active and curious like the father, Quilber. Smithsonian zookeepers sent quill samples to scientists at the Zoo Center for Conservation Genomics for DNA analysis and hope to reveal their porcupet's sex and its name in a few weeks. I was wondering how they get up close and personal with a porcupine to find that out.
You answered my question. I was going to ask you, I wonder what a baby porcupine is known as.
Porcupet.
Porcupet.
But they're probably not meant to be pets.
And see, there you go, folks. You join us for the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. You never know what random animal fact you're going to find out about porcupines.
It seemed really furry at that age, the newborn age.
I'm not going to touch him. I'm not. No, thank you.
That is so cute, though. Well, he hasn't grown into his quills yet.
You ever been hit by a quill?
No.
You ever stuck your hand in a cactus?
Yes.
About the same thing.
Why were you hit by a quill?
Long story.
Yeah.
Live look outside of Television City. Notice how I just glazed over that one, folks. Live look outside of Television City with a daily almanac, and our average high would be about 46 degrees here for the last day of January, and we are going to cruise past that number. We won't challenge that record high of 75, but it's still going to be delightful. No worries on the Skywatch storm tracker, clean and clear as can be. Get out and take advantage of the last day of January, because February is going to bring us some big changes. We got a low pressure system working in off the Pacific Northwest, and it's going to make these temperatures, we're going long for these temperatures here by the time we get to the middle of the week. Right now we span anywhere from about 16 to 32 degrees. Joplin sits at 31. Our low being Sedan out there at 16. Miami at 27. Nevada up to 33. Now we're clean for today. Let's get into tomorrow night, because that's when we begin with just general rain. Temperatures well above the freezing mark, so no big deal there. But now as we transition from Tuesday night into Wednesday morning, boom, big Canadian cold front. Temperatures drop below freezing, rain up to the north. This is the important part whenever we see the pink. That's the wintry mix of not only the snow, but also some freezing rain. We're going to develop some ice. Plan on problematic travel for Wednesday morning. As a matter of fact, not just Wednesday morning, how about all day Wednesday? Because it sticks around until we get through Wednesday night into Thursday. And on top of the wintry conditions precipitation-wise, we are freezing cold. Highs only in the 20s, and look at this overnight. Down to 15 between Wednesday and Thursday, then we roll single digits Thursday to Friday and Friday to Saturday. Tanya?
All right, well, up next, Washington, D.C.'s Union Station is vandalized, and a homeless man with mental health issues is the #1 culprit. However, is that really to blame? We'll take a look. And later, party on! Wayne's World turns 30 years old. We'll have how Paramount Home Entertainment plans on celebrating this iconic movie. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14.
The Pittsburgh Area Chamber's
Fox. Suspect behind swastikas and other racist graffiti left on the Capitol's Union Station overnight is most likely a homeless person with mental health issues. And that's according to D.C. Police Chief Robert Conti. The incident sparked outrage among the region's Jewish organizations. And a lot of travelers we talked to want to know how someone could do so much damage at a transportation hub next to the Capitol that's supposed to be under tight security. Here's Scott Broom at Union Station.
Workers here at Union Station have spent the morning trying to cover up these racist marks and graffiti that completely cover the front of Union Station from one end to the other. I've just finished surveying the building. I counted personally at least 100 of these racist tags. Where is the security?
I don't know. The video is I don't see no security. This is disgusting for the country.
Taxi driver Abduali Ali wondering how this could happen here.
It's surprising.
Tourists dismayed.
It's so sad. America's so divided right now.
It's serious, yeah, because I don't think anybody should be walking into a train station and seeing that happen.
Most of the marks were swastikas. There were also profane epithets directed at former President Obama, all appearing the morning after Holocaust Remembrance Day. The timing of this hateful act is incredibly alarming, said Meredith R. Weissel of the Anti-Defamation League's D.C. office, who noted a historically high level of anti-Semitism across the country. But Amtrak, which has a police force investigating the graffiti, called it a case of property destruction. Metropolitan Police Chief Robert Conti called it hate and said he's reached out to Jewish leaders with the information he's learned.
The person who did this potentially has could very well have some mental health challenges. What I also know is that it appears that it may be one of our unhoused residents who did this.
There has been no arrest or formal charges yet, Conti said.
Well, New Zealand's Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern has entered self-isolation upon being deemed a close contact of a positive COVID-19 case. Ardern was exposed as a close contact when she and the Governor General were in Northland undertaking advanced filming at the Waitangi Treaty grounds. Ardern remains asymptomatic and is feeling well. The Governor General and other members of her staff are getting tested and self-isolating for 10 days. American Academy of Pediatrics has updated its pandemic guidance, saying keeping schools open for in-person learning should be the priority. The AAP urges vaccination, masking, and physical distancing, and says remote learning has worsened educational inequities as a mental health crisis among children. Adults with diabetes face worse outcomes when hospitalized with COVID-19. A study in Canada found diabetes patients had longer hospital stays than patients without diabetes, and they were 77% more likely to be readmitted to the hospital within 30 days. Worker shortages have brought many hospitals to near crisis levels. A study at a Pittsburgh medical center outlined a solution when surgical staff dropped by nearly a third. Doctors reduced operating room procedures 15%. By delaying elective surgeries. That strategy helped address staffing challenges during the most recent COVID surge. And a stray dog in the western Turkish province of Saqqara was seen running after a police car on patrol to get food from the policemen. A video released by Saqqara Police Department showed the stray dog chasing a police car and jumping up to the window once the car stopped. The video also shows one of the police officers giving food to the dog, whom they named Sari, which means yellow in Turkish. The team frequently saw Sari in the streets during their patrols over the past few weeks, but they were surprised that he recognized the car and ran after it. Aww.
Shout out to our producer, too, for the CG Feed Me, Seymour, Feed Me. Well played, Little Shop of Horrors. Well played. That was good. That's it. They talk about, we have those stories where, dogs will seemingly be gone for months, if not a year on end, and makes a cross-country trek and ends up back at home.
Yeah.
Can't explain it. I don't know. Current conditions over 7th and Rangeline. A little bit chilly this morning, but it's going to be a delightful last day of January. 31 degrees is where we stand. A little wind chill in effect. Only feels like 26 right now. Still got some teens ranging throughout southeast Kansas. Miami and Grove will go mid-20s. And then right at the freezing point for Carthage and Monette, Nevada sits at 33. We're going to get a whole lot of sunshine today. The Skywatch storm tracker just clear and calm as can be. We're going to be eyeballing a low pressure system making its way off the Pacific, and as once it hits land, it's going to be a mess, and it's going to follow the jet stream right down toward us. That's going to bring the precipitation, and then the cold Canadian air is going to drop right in on it, and that's going to cause problematic travel concerns for both Wednesday and Thursday. Our afternoon planner for Monday, though, who can complain about being around 65 degrees, little south wind gusting up to 20 miles per hour. Overnight, these are phenomenal overnight temperatures. Go low 50s, see some high 40s every now and then, but well above the freezing mark. It's going to be actually quite delightful tomorrow morning as well. But starting tomorrow, that's when the rain begins to kick in. Really so late afternoon, early evening is when the rain develops. And the majority of the snow to begin with, that's going to stay up to the east of Kansas City. That's not going to really affect us on Tuesday. Now, Tuesday night into Wednesday, that's when our tune completely changes. Because we were talking about that air mass out of Canada. Well, the moisture doesn't go anywhere from the low pressure system off the Pacific. It sticks around. And so it transitions into snow. And the dangerous portion is, of course, that pink part right there, because that's the freezing rain, the wintry precip, the mixture of the snow, the freezing rain, some sleet thrown in there the farther south that you get. along the rain line, and so that's really going to play a role on our roads for not only Wednesday morning, but all day Wednesday. And look at that timeline right there. And it's going to last into Thursday morning as well, and that is why we have the winter storm watch lasting all the way until Friday. It's pretty expansive. It runs from the Rockies out to the west, and then if you track this, it runs through the Ohio River Valley all the way to the Great Lakes. So we're not the only ones going to be in the midst of this. But you notice the precipitation sticks around. Then on top of that, frigid temps, highs only in the 20s on Wednesday and Thursday, and dangerously cold overnight as those overnight lows get down to single digits. We'll be back with more KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 right after this.
In America,
Wayne's World lives on in the digital age, and after a pandemic-imposed hiatus, the Black Eyed Peas taking the stage for live shows once again. Danye Bacchus with our Eye on Entertainment.
The Black Eyed Peas are back on tour with a new female singer, J. Ray Soul.
We like collaborating with female voices. We like, and we love what we did with Fergie, and we also love what we're doing with J. Ray Soul right now. She's awesome, and her project is coming out this year as well. She's growing into a superstar.
The group headlined the Dubai Expo 2020 last week. will.i.am says it's great to be playing in front of crowds again.
Wayne's World, party time, excellent.
Wayne's World is turning 30, and Paramount Home Entertainment has a present for fans, a limited edition Blu-ray steelbook. Saturday Night Live actors Mike Myers and Dana Carvey star as Wayne and Garth, best friends who host a public access cable show from Wayne's suburban Chicago basement. Along with the Blu-ray and steelbook, fans also will receive a digital copy of the film available tomorrow.
I am the company!
And Showtime has released the trailer for Super Pumped, the battle for Uber.
I will never back down from a fight. And if no one wants to believe in me, I'll make them believe.
In its inaugural season, Super Pumped follows the rise and fall of Uber founder Travis Kalanick. Joseph Gordon-Levitt plays Kalanick. Uma Thurman and Cal Chandler co-star. Super Pumped, the battle for Uber debuts February 27th on Showtime. That's your Eye on Entertainment. Danya Bacchus, CBS News, Los Angeles.
'Twas a time when a certain part of the generation of a certain age learned who Tia Carrera was. Be right back with this morning's four-state hero right after this.
He's four-state hero, Sergeant Johnny Lee Lawrence, a member of the U.S. Army from 1965 to 1967. Lawrence served in Baumholder, Germany. He received several medals for marksmanship. We thank you, Johnny Lee Lawrence of Fontaine, Kansas, today's four-state hero. Well, losing a loved one is hard, and a group of Indigenous people are working to make their voices heard so that their loved ones who are missing or murdered see justice. Brianna Albisu has more on this story.
It's a pain some families can't even describe.
We're so grieving that we just don't know what to do anymore.
Losing a loved one too soon, with no answers.
I need to know, I need closure. I need to know who hurt my daughter.
For those in Native communities, this is far too common.
I live in the city and these kind of cases get solved really quick in those areas. I just don't understand why it's not the same here.
Now, many are vowing for change. Starting today in Shiprock.
It's tragic. I think the main thing that we need to keep in mind is, these families are incredibly strong.
For attendees big and small, this rally served as an opportunity to reflect.
From signs and flags to chants and songs, family members marched 5 miles to remember and honor those who were either missing or murdered.
Joining in unity.
Say their name, say their name, say their name.
It brought joy to my heart, kind of gave me a little bit of peace knowing that, okay, we're doing something.
Our family just got bigger. Just being out here with them,
You know, it encourages me to keep fighting and keep moving forward.
Whether it's a lack of help,
our resources are slim. It's limited, especially because of our laws and our jurisdictions, stuff that blankets us, and it's just hard to get help from on the outside.
or the color of their skin.
She was no drug dealer. She was not homeless. But just because she's Native American, that's how they judged her. That's how they labeled her.
Families say it's traumatizing, but they're finally being heard.
We all have one goal, to get justice and return those that are, reunite those that are still missing.
Hoping for brighter days ahead.
It doesn't matter what our past is or what our children's past are, you know, they meant something to us and we don't want them forgotten.
Another half hour of news and weather is just ahead. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14, Emily Frankowski stops by to tell us about what fun events Connect to Culture has coming up. And men and women in blue are mourning as more communities see the loss of officers due to a wave of increasing violence in communities. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. We'll be right back.
When searching for your dream home,
the 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. It's currently 7:31. Let's take a look at today's top stories. Man from Miami, Oklahoma sits behind bars after he leads police on a car chase with multiple shots fired. Authorities say they got a call around 8 a.m. Saturday saying 2 vehicles were chasing each other. A person in one car was shooting at the other car. 2 eventually stopped and 1 person got out of the car and began shooting at the other car again. Officers later located the car that shots had been fired from, and they discovered 2 men in the car and took one of them into custody. The investigation is still underway. Cherokee County Area Beekeepers Club team up with the K-State Research and Extension Office to create a buzz about beekeeping. The two partnered up and hosted a beekeeping class. Now, a number of topics were covered, including bee biology, equipment, and supplies, as well as taking care of and acquiring bees.
It's very important for the pollination of our flowers and our crops. It's very important to keep our bees around because that's what pollinates our food supply. 90% of our food is pollinated with the bees, so if we don't have the bees and other pollinators such as hummingbirds and the birds, we would be without a major food chain.
There was also a hands-on activity assembling a hive to be given away at the end of the class. Blackco Trading Company sheds some light on candle making as the company hosts a candle pouring event. Participants had an opportunity to make their own candles. Idea came from one of the vendors at Black Crow who makes candles regularly as a way to bring the community together.
Just getting the community together. Like I said, having something to do even on a Sunday when there's not a lot going on brings us together. COVID kind of took a lot of those activities away from us, so this is something that we can just enjoy together.
Owen says as a small community, it's important to support local businesses. The iconic restaurant Chicken Mary's in rural Pittsburgh is up for sale, but don't worry, it's not closing. Manager tells us the sale is contingent on the new owner agreeing to continue to operate the restaurant and retain managers. Chicken Mary's is one of the restaurants that's drawn chicken lovers to Southeast Kansas for generations.
We'll always have a connection, but you know, I'm going to miss being here, the joy of, I don't know, seeing people happy. You know, there's a lot of things I'm really going to miss. It's going to be super hard. I'm not going to lie and say it's going to be easy to walk away, because it's not. But, you know, there's things in life I want to do while I'm still able to do them too.
Cobb Realty Company has posted the property price at $1.1 million. Well, you can now eat your favorite snack cake by the pint. 7 of Little Debbie's classics will be getting an ice cream makeover. Oatmeal cream pies, cosmic brownies, zebra cakes, even honey buns will be popping up in the freezer February 1st. Hudsonville Ice Cream announced the partnership with the snack food icon after the success of an ice cream based on the Christmas tree cakes last November. Pints will be available exclusively at Walmart, but all 7 flavors will be available year-round.
I'd give it a whirl. Looks kind of good. You got a favorite Little Debbie?
Little Debbie snack cake?
Well, I mean, would you have an ice cream preference? What do you like, Carrie? Carrie goes nutty bar.
If we can make oatmeal cream pies.
They do.
Yeah.
Look, I almost walked. I'm an idiot. I almost walked over there and
It's
tried
in
to
the
touch
corner.
it. I know. Look on the far left. Look on the far left. That's the one I would go with. I'd go with oatmeal cream pie too.
Yeah.
Go.
That'd be good.
All right. Hey, say hello. Dylan, my bad. I saw you popped up the video there for me. I'm sorry about that. Say hello to the glow cloud out there. Live look outside of Television City as we transition to 7th and Rangeline. Feeling like 26 degrees right now, hanging just below the freezing point in both Joplin and in Pittsburgh. Still looking at 19 out in Independence and Neodesha. 32 in Monette. Clean Skywatch storm tracker. Gorgeous, gorgeous Monday start for our last day of January. Warmer temps to follow. We're eyeballing what's up here. This low pressure system is now making its way off the Pacific Northwest into big sky country. It's going to sit up there for today, gather up some steam, and then head down toward us. Weather trend for Monday, though, still going to be able to lift us up into the mid-60s. South wind, 10 to 15 miles per hour. And then as we get into Tuesday, we'll start with rain. A whole lot of moisture up in the atmosphere. But that cold air is going to flip that straight over to snow. And more importantly, the pink indicating our freezing rain and freezing drizzle. That's going to be the problematic travel concern for not only Wednesday, but into Thursday as well. And whatever hits the ground is not going anywhere because our temperatures way below the freezing mark all the way until the weekend. Be back with more KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 right after this.
In America, the future belongs.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. Earlier, we were joined by Emily Frankowski of Connect to Culture, and Emily, kind enough to stick around because there's a couple of events that are very important that I want to be able to touch upon. And by the way, you can find a complete list of events, Connect to Culture, with a marvelous Facebook page, a great website as well for ticket information, locations, and whatnot. Emily, thank you for your time. I want to ask about your musical ear. And I'd like to start with a group called the 10 Tenors, who are putting on a performance called Love is in the Air. Now, this will actually be after Valentine's Day, but talk about recruiting this group and having them perform here.
Yeah. So, I feel like the entire month of February is the month of love. So it doesn't matter if you celebrate on the 14th or the 26th. I think it's all the same.
I love it.
And the 10 Tenors have been in Joplin before. They visited us. We brought them in 2018 to a almost sellout crowd. There were over 1,000 people that came out to hear them. Standing ovations. This group is one not to miss. It is made up of 10 tenors from Australia, and they're going to be singing all of your favorite love songs, for wedding first dance songs, all of those great songs that you love, and all in 10-part harmony that is just exquisite. They are fabulous, and this will be Saturday, February 26th at 7 p.m. at Joplin High School's Performing Arts Center. And I can't tell you enough about how many people just gushed all over them. They were just fantastic, and people are hungry for more, so we brought them back by popular demand.
And like Emily said, last time they were here, a near sold out performance. There's no reason to wait to get your tickets, and you can get those by going to connect2culture.org. We have another musical performance that is of the utmost importance as far as what Connect to Culture is trying to complete here in the near future. It's a gentleman by the name of Charles McPherson, and he's putting on what's called a homecoming celebration. I hope that you all watching out there have been able to hear snippets of his music and what Connect to Culture is promoting. Emily, before we talk about Charles McPherson himself, talk about the end goal, about what Connect to Culture is trying to put together behind his performance.
Yeah, so Charles McPherson is, one of the world-renowned jazz musicians out there. And with this performance, we're not only giving him an opportunity to come home because he's originally from Joplin. We've been planning this for 3 years now due to COVID, so we're all really excited for it to happen. But also, part of this whole celebration is that we are working with a variety of collaborators, because this is a huge collaboration homecoming event with a variety of organizations. But we're working to create a new mural in town, and it will celebrate celebrate the performing arts history of the Black community. So Charles McPherson will be one of those central images, as well as Langston Hughes and others who might have performed in Joplin over the years or passed through and were very inspirational for our community.
So now I ask you to kind of let us behind the scenes. When it came time to contact Charles McPherson and tell him what the goal was and give him the opportunity to come back, what were those conversations like? Was he excited? Was he apprehensive? Kind of give us the backstory.
I think he was extremely excited, and the excitement has been building over these 3 years, that we had it. We were a little nervous that it wasn't going to happen because we have been working on it for so long and just have postponed and postponed. But Charles McPherson, he's almost 83 years old. He has been performing for a very long time, and he just jumped at the opportunity to return home because he hasn't been to Joplin, I don't think, since he was around 9 or 10 years old.
Oh my gosh, it has really been that long?
I think so.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And Emily, I want to thank you, and once again, thank you for bringing Mr. McPherson in. That's going to be February the 18th and the 19th, those performances at 7 p.m. And once again, how many times, folks, will you have a chance to see a world-renowned jazz musician right here in our own backyard? But we're able to, thanks to Emily and Connect to Culture. Emily, thank you so much for your time. Once again, folks, for ticket information, venues, and performance times, all you have to do is go to connecttoculture.org. Emily, thank you.
Thanks.
We'll be back with more KOAM Morning News right after this.
For Freshly.
It might cost more to heat your home very soon. Natural gas futures are rising ahead of a blizzard that could hit 10 states. All that snow and cold likely will lead to more use of home heating, and most people rely on natural gas for that. So March futures are up more than 25% this week. Tesla's Cybertruck is delayed again. During a Wednesday call, CEO Elon Musk told investors the pickup won't be ready until 2023, 2 years after it was promised. Musk said the main issue is new technology after finding a price people are willing to pay for it. When the truck was announced in 2019, it had a starting price of $39,900, excuse me. During the call, Musk also said no new vehicles will be announced this year. After the announcement, the price of Tesla stock fell 11% on Thursday. Spotify announced Sunday it's changing its rules in response to major artists leaving its platform. In a statement Sunday, Spotify is announcing that it is adding a content advisory to podcasts that discuss COVID-19. Streaming audio service is under pressure because podcast host Joe Rogan has spread misleading information about vaccines. Spotify CEO Daniel Ek says he recognizes the obligation to provide balance and access to credible medical information. Podcasting and music service says it has built a COVID-19 hub for accurate information and is the first to publish content guidelines. But the list of Spotify critics continues to grow. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, who have a podcast, deal with the platform, are asking the platform to, quote, meet the moment, unquote. Google is among the headliners of a busy earnings week. Parent company Alphabet will announce its fourth quarter results after Tuesday's closing bell. Shares of Alphabet soared 65% in 2021, but they've fallen over 10% in the past month. Amazon and Facebook, now Meta platforms, also report this week. And Kia is recalling more than 410,000 vehicles because of potentially defective airbags. The recall includes certain 2017 to 2019 cars and SUVs. The automaker says a design flaw could lead to the airbags being deactivated. Owners affected by the recall will be notified by mail. We'll be right back with more after this, but first let's take a look at the market prices before the opening bell.
Welcome to Sonic.
The men and women in blue are mourning the loss of their own as a wave of gun violence continues to grip the nation. 4 officers killed by gunfire in the line of duty so far this year alone. Now final goodbyes are being planned and justice being served. Jen Sullivan with the latest.
A show of sorrow in New York City.
Bagpipes play as law enforcement lines up and crowds gather to honor and pay respects to slain 22-year-old NYPD officer Jason Rivera.
His mission was to bridge a gap between police department and our community, and he was a great man.
Rivera was shot and killed responding to a domestic disturbance call last week. His partner, Wilbert Mora, died in the hospital a few days later from gunshot wounds sustained during the shooting.
FBI Director Chris Wray wrote an op-ed recently that highlighted the record number of law enforcement officers feloniously killed last year, 73. This is the highest number since the September 11 attacks. This year, unfortunately, isn't looking any better.
In Texas, 3 police officers were shot in Houston Thursday afternoon, just a short time after police announced cop-killing suspect Oscar Rosales was captured in Mexico.
I'm here to tell you justice is here.
Rosales has been brought back to Houston to face charges of capital murder. Officials say Rosales is the man they have on video fatally shooting Harris County Deputy Officer Charles Galloway in the head during a traffic stop Sunday morning.
The crime of capital murder can only end 2 ways: in the death penalty or in life without parole. This case has all the earmarkings and is a death penalty case.
I'm Jen Sullivan reporting.
Let's transition to our Monday weather, because this shot outside of Television City is going to have a definitive change to it, like 4 to 6 inches of snow on it by the time we get to Thursday. 31 degrees is where we stand right now in Joplin. Monday is going to be absolutely beautiful considering the last day of January, and we're going to see about a 30-degree warm-up from where we are right now. In some places, possibly even 40-degree warm-up. Clean Skywatch storm tracker. No worries whatsoever, minus this right here. This low pressure that's gathering up by the Canadian border. We'll actually throw a little Gulf moisture in it as well, but this one, after it drops down on us, is number 1, going to bring us snow. Number 2, perhaps the most important thing, talking about some freezing rain, drizzle, and ice. And then we've also got collar sticking up. Then we've also got bitter cold temperatures, dangerous lows overnight down to the single digits. Here's what we have weather trend wise for today. Highs around 65 degrees, very hard to beat. So let's get into the precipitation. That begins Tuesday evening and takes us all the way into Thursday. We start as rain. Temperatures well above the freezing point, can support that rain, not a problem. It's when we drop below. So here's what we've got. We're going to see anywhere, we could even see in about 6 to 8 inches the farther north that you get closer to Kansas City. And then, of course, our numbers go down. But look at this right here. The pink, that's the freezing rain, the drizzle, the ice. That's going to be problematic, especially along 44 and then 49 working down to the south. This lasts all day Wednesday. It just doesn't give up on us. And so we're not only climbing accumulation-wise, snow-wise, we're also we've got ice accretion. Accretion is just the name that they use when we talk about the amount that you'll see there begin to build up on our streets. So no surprise that the winter storm watch for us is in effect. And look at this thing. We were talking earlier about how expansive it is from the Rockies through us all the way up to the Great Lakes. It's going to be a little bit of a Midwest mess here. Look at those overnight lows dropping to 3 and 5 for Thursday and Friday, and even Saturday and Sunday. Still very, very cold. It is going to be one ride to open up February. You're going to want to make sure you stay with us, the radar, the watches, and the warnings. We'll be back with more KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 right after this.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Here's what's happening today. Americans from Virginia to Maine are still digging out and warming up after this weekend's big blizzard. The storm dumped close to 2 feet of snow on Boston. Snarled air travel caused power outages and prompted warnings about frigid temperatures in several states. As the pandemic begins a 3rd year, there's growing hope the Omicron surge is stabilizing. Since New Year's, COVID deaths skyrocketed 86%, but new infections and hospitalizations are now dropping. That comes as San Francisco plans to roll back its indoor mask mandate starting tomorrow. And the Cincinnati Bengals clinched a trip to the Super Bowl with a 27-24 AFC Championship victory over the Kansas City Chiefs in overtime. The Bengals will play their first Super Bowl in 33 years against the LA Rams, who topped the San Francisco 49ers 20-17 in the NFC Championship. Let's check in with Mike with a final look at your forecast.
Brandon Allen, former Oklahoma State quarterback, he's the one who called the coin toss for the Bengals. Of course, he lost it. No, there may not have been anybody happier on that Bengals roster than Brandon Allen when that game was over yesterday. Beautiful looking Monday. Remember, tomorrow evening it starts as rain, and Wednesday you're going to want to stick with us all Tuesday night long into Wednesday morning. That's when we get the snow, the freezing rain, and the frigid cold.
All right, well, a California mail carrier surprised a 7-year-old boy who was battling cancer with a special birthday delivery. As you can see, Van Singletary shocked Jacob Hayward with his own child-sized postal truck for his 7th birthday. How cool is that? Looking for a reaction from the kid. There we go! Singletary grew close to Jacob while delivering mail to his family. The young boy has been battling cancer for nearly 2 years, facing dozens of rounds of chemotherapy, radiation treatments, and surgeries. Jacob's family says the one thing that's always lifts his spirit is getting mail and seeing Van. Now he not only got a new truck, Jacob also got his own mail uniform and a tour of the local post office for his birthday.
Find that kid's address, send him a letter if you have time. Thank you so much for letting us put the good in your morning. We'll be back with more news and weather when we see you at noon.
Have a great morning and an even better day.
I had a bunch of knee surgeries done.